Has job loss, debt, or unexpected life events wrecked your finances? If so, using a bare bones budget may be what you need to get back on track. Hi, and welcome back. I'm Kamika, and this is Well Balanced Wallet, where I help you create healthy money habits and live a life that you love on your current budget. In today's video, we're talking about the bare bones budget. In 2015, my husband and I lost more than half of our income. We were newlyweds just starting out with our adult jobs, and life was good until it got really scary. My husband had to have a few brain surgeries and was unable to work in the 2 years that followed. During that time, we had to live on a tight, bare bones budget. We didn't know how long this situation was going to last, but we were grateful that we had a bare bones budget in place to help us stay above water. So, what is a bare bones budget? A bare bones budget is a budget that only includes expenses that are necessary to survive and fulfill your financial obligations. Sometimes you may hear it referred to as a noodle budget or a beans and rice budget. This type of budget is meant to be temporary since it doesn't include room for extra expenses, and that can be hard to maintain for a long period of time. We had to use our bare bones budget for a little over 2 years, but we made slight adjustments along the way to make it more sustainable. Why do you need a bare bones budget? So there are a few reasons why you would need to use a bare bones budget. One reason is if you find yourself in an emergency situation. Knowing what your bare bones budget looks like can help you easily eliminate expenses while you're going through a crisis. Another reason to have a bare bones budget is so that you're aware of the amount of money you spend in relation to the amount of money that you actually need to survive. This awareness can help you make decisions on your financial priorities and adjust your spending accordingly. The last reason is that a bare bones budget is a great way to make progress on your financial goals quickly. Adopting this type of budget, even for a few months, is a great way to pay off debt and save for an emergency faster than you would using a normal day-to-day budget. When to use a bare bones budget? Bare bones budgets are typically used in the time of a crisis. Sudden job loss and health issues are two main reasons why you would need to use a bare bones budget. Other reasons include dealing with a family crisis, experiencing a natural disaster or pandemic, having a medical emergency, paying off debt, building an emergency fund, breaking unhealthy spending habits, and getting ahead of the paycheck to paycheck cycle. Cutting expenses to the minimum while you are looking for a new job or recovering from a medical crisis helps relieve some of the stress, especially if you've already planned your bare bones budget ahead of time. 2020 was a perfect example of a time when you would use a bare bones budget. People were getting laid off and losing their jobs, so switching to a bare bones budget is the only way that some people were able to survive. Whether the need comes from external situations or internal motivations, a bare bones budget is a great resource to help you get through tough times. What to include in a bare bones budget? The purpose of a bare bones budget is to cut everything down to the essentials. Essentials include food, housing, utilities, and transportation. A bare bones budget does not include things like new electronics, vacations, or expensive dinners. When creating a temporary budget, you have to ask yourself whether you should keep, reduce, or eliminate each expense in your budget. For our bare bones budget, we kept things like all forms of insurance, rent, and gas money. We decided to reduce our grocery budget. We took our restaurant budget down to $30 per month, and we reduced the number of streaming services that we paid for to 1. We eliminated cable, most forms of entertainment, and extra debt payments. One thing to note is that we kept our spending money in our budget because we wanted to feel like we had some sort of freedom within our budget. We reduced the amount to $25 each every month, and we actually still use the same amount in our normal budget today. The bare bones budget is going to look different for everyone, and the goal is to make sure you cut your budget down to essentials until you get back on your feet. How long should you stay on a bare bones budget? The amount of time that you stay on a bare bones budget depends on the reason why you're using the bare bones budget. If an emergency has caused you to live on a temporary budget, stick with it as long as your situation is uncertain. For goal-driven purposes, you want to stick with this type of budget until you reach your goals or your predefined milestone. For example, you could use a bare bones budget until you fund your emergency fund. Another option is to use a bare bones budget throughout the year to make sprints towards your goals. The sprint approach is really good to pay off your debt quickly or to save for things throughout the year. Using a bare bones budget over a long period of time is hard to sustain, but in most situations, situations, the light at the end of the tunnel is enough to keep you motivated while you're going through your uncertain times or while you are getting ahead financially. Having a bare bones budget in place can be a lifesaver when you find yourself in uncertain financial situations. It can also be helpful if you're trying to get ahead on your financial goals. Challenging yourself to create a bare bones budget may even help you identify expenses that you can eliminate completely to put yourself in a better financial position. I hope you never have to use a bare bones budget, but knowing what it looks like is beneficial even if you never have to reduce your spending to match. So now I want to hear from you. Do you have a bare bones budget in place in case of an emergency? If not, do you plan on creating one? Next week, I'll be walking you through how to create a bare bones budget step by step. So stay tuned. That's all for this video. Be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and click the link on your screen right now to learn how to save an emergency fund quickly. See you there.